Okay, for those of you who have just joined, you should be seeing my computer screen at this point. Chris at Points of Light, if you would just confirm that my sound and visual looks okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm seeing your screen and can hear you clearly. So looks good from my end.
Very good. We're going to wait 2 more minutes and then get started at 2:03 Eastern and wait for some of these stragglers to come in.
I'm not hearing anything. They saying anything, Linda?
Yeah, they're talking.
I'm not hearing anything. I guess I'll have to.
All right, well, I hope everyone is having a good week so far and a good Thanksgiving holiday coming up. We've got everyone here, it looks like, who has signed up for the event. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining today. For those of you who I haven't spoken with, my name is Dan Wayne, and I work for Nonprofit Easy, which has entered into a strategic alliance, really a global alliance with Points of Light on the volunteer management solution side from a technology perspective. So over the past few months, we've been working with Points of Light to come up with, really come up with a toolkit and a package for hands-on affiliates and hands-on Connect customers specifically. So in about a week from now, we will be releasing the latest version of Fundly Connect. So again, Nonprofit Easy is the name of the company. Our product suite is called the Fundly suite of products. So what you're looking at on your screen is a sample public portal that a hands-on affiliate or some other nonprofit might be using to sign up volunteers and to schedule opportunities and really manage volunteer opportunities as a whole. So many of you have been on my webinars in the past looking at some of these slides here that I showcased last time, some of the things that are upcoming. We're at that point now where we're releasing a lot of this functionality. We've moved from version 1 to version 2 on this software. We're introducing things like responsive design. We're also releasing Fresh Portal, as you see here, so an inline content management system. So you have inline editing capabilities to very easily make changes to your public site. I mentioned an e-communications push, as well as some additional things like corporate team sign-up and some other things that I think will make you guys very happy. Additionally, I have a handout that I'll provide to everyone after this presentation. Today we're really going to spend most of the time in the solution, and if you have questions, please feel free to use the chat window in the GoToMeeting. But really, this is something we'll be sending out to all hands-on affiliates who have an interest in volunteer management. This is basically a 2-pager that you can use to see what features version 2 of Fundly Connect offers and the pricing that goes along with that. So you can see here, one of the main differences I think a lot of people want to understand and will need to understand is we have 3 different levels of subscriptions to Fundly Connect. Okay, we have a premium level subscription, which a larger nonprofit agency would use if they have a need for more robust volunteer management. We also have a free version of the Fundly Connect product that I would say the majority of your agency partners and other nonprofits who are connecting into your volunteer center will likely subscribe to. And then you have the volunteer center subscription, which is why most of you guys are here, and it's the subscription that most of you will use. So with that being said, let's get into the product. I'll send this off to everyone after this demonstration. And just as a reminder, we are giving a 25% discount off of year one pricing for Hands-On Connect customers before the end of the year. And additionally, we have a data migration package that we've put together through hard work with the Points of Light team. We've mapped out most of the data fields and created some different data migration templates. So we'll hopefully make the process easier if you do decide to move over to Fundly Connect from Hands-On Connect. So we can talk about that in more depth on a personal one-on-one basis. But most of the data migrations will be free for Hands-On Connect customers. Additionally, on this PDF, you have differentiators that come with the system, so you can review those once I send this off. And again, if you have any questions, just feel free to send those in the chat to me, and I will do my best to keep up as I demo. I will at some points probably not respond to your question if I'm kind of in the heart of a workflow. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's take a look at Fundly Connect version 2.0. This is what the public portal looks like, and as you'll see, it's pretty similar to what a Hands-On Connect portal will look like. You have your most recent opportunities. So these are opportunities that have been created most recently. I've used some images from clients that we have, as well as some hands-on customers. So if you see some language here that is representative of your organization, I've stolen that from your site on our demo. So let's just keep in mind this is our staging environment. You also will notice that there is a widget here, a donation widget here on the lower right-hand portion of the screen. Now, that's something we've released in version 2, which I'll get into in just a minute. But essentially what this allows you to do is make a donation to your volunteer center or to the organization who is using Fundly Connect, who has put a widget on their homepage. So really the process of giving a donation has become very easy, and it's all done on one screen. Really, we just need some very basic information from people, and you can actually start accepting credit cards right here on your screen. So part of the strategy with version 2 was to widgetize a lot of the technology. So donation widgets, opportunity search widgets, potentially a newsletter widget. That's kind of the strategy moving forward for Fundly Connect. If there are certain aspects of other things that you want on your site, we're hoping we can create widgets for those functions. So we'll get into how to create one of these in just a minute, but really that's the process of making a donation. The person will receive a thank you. You can configure what you want this message to say, or if you want this to redirect the donor to somewhere else. You'll always have this powered by Nonprofit Easy at the bottom of your screen. But that's really the process of using the widget to make a gift. So it's really a quick way to make a donation, which I think is really nice. At the top of your screen, you'll notice you have 3 different tabs. You have organizations, volunteers, and teams. Obviously, if you're a nonprofit agency, you would sign up with the organization sign up. If you're a volunteer, you use the volunteer. And then if you're a corporate team, or if you're an individual team, maybe you have a family or a group of friends that wants to sign up, you can create your team using the team sign up. And we'll go through those workflows throughout the process and throughout the demo, but just kind of giving you the lay of the land here. Additionally, you have another menu bar up towards the middle part of the screen that includes text pages, as well as built-in pages that will take you to specific places. So this is the About Us section. This is obviously our company. and you can really create whatever text pages you want within the system using the CMS and the inline editor that I mentioned earlier. You also have a calendar of events so that volunteers can quickly come onto your calendar and see both recurring as well as one-time opportunities. You can look at it from a day, week, or month perspective. You also have opportunity blocks as well as training blocks. So for some volunteer opportunities, you may have an orientation or training that will be represented in a certain color that you decide. You can see here these are all opportunities, for instance. But I'll have the ability to come on here if I'm a volunteer and pull open the details for an opportunity and get into kind of the nitty-gritty of the opportunity just by clicking through a few different screens. And this will take me into information about the volunteer opportunity. So let's go ahead and apply for a volunteer opportunity as a team. That'll be the first process that we look at. So let's say today, or let's say tomorrow at 9 a.m., we're going to go in and apply for dog care. You have information about where the organization is located, where the volunteer opportunity is going to take place. And as this loads, once we apply for the volunteer opportunity, we will get into the back end of the system and look at it from the volunteer center perspective. And I guess the last point I'll make is that, again, this is our staging environment. This product isn't live yet, so there are some hiccups along the way that I've run into. So if we do find something or look at a dead end somewhere, just know that we're working on polishing this up for December 1, putting it through our final QA quality control process. So once I'm here on the opportunity, I can apply for the opportunity, and I'll need to log in or sign up for an account if I haven't logged in already. I'll try that one more time. And obviously the speed of the system is something we've worked on from V1 to V2. You'll have to excuse any speed reduction here as you know we're working on things. But here's where you'll select how you want to apply. Do you want to apply as a team or as an individual? So let's go ahead and apply as a team. I've logged in as Dan Wayne, who is actually the captain of two different teams. And one team is the Atlantans, the other is YoPros. So we've introduced multi-team structure into the platform where, you know, if you have a family or if you have friends and if you also have professional colleagues that you may want to volunteer with, you can manage separate teams. So I'll pick the Atlantans and I'll say my team size is 10 for this volunteer opportunity. You'll remember that the volunteer opportunity had unlimited spots. So this is something where I could have 20 or 50 or, you know, bring the entire CPA department or finance department in to volunteer as a team. And you'll notice that I'm already associated with this opportunity, so I must have applied for that before. So let's go back to the calendar, or better yet, let's actually go back to the opportunity search. So we'll quickly find one more opportunity to apply for that I don't think I have yet. And it looks like Chris had a question. There are 100 people on a team. How does a team captain pick the 8 people who are coming to the event? And Chris, I will show you how that's done in the back end of the system in just a few minutes. And it's being a little slow right now, so my apologies on that, but let's continue on. And here we have the application for the team. Again, spots are unlimited. You can change the team name here. So if you want to toggle back and forth between teams, you can do that, or change the team size. You can do that as well. If there's an application associated with this forest cleanup, you would have to fill out the application. In this case, there was no application, so we've gone ahead and actually submitted the application to the nonprofit. So now my options are to either go back to the volunteer opportunity search or go to the dashboard. And when I go to my dashboard, it's going to take me into the back end of the system as a team leader, as a team captain. And I can, from here, manage my volunteers and manage my team members from the database, from the back end of the tool. Okay, so this is what a team dashboard looks like. You'll notice there's a team captain, which is me. I also have a team co-captain, which is Alice. Co-captains can do things, pretty much the same thing a team captain can. They can manage their members and help schedule and coordinate volunteer opportunities. So you have a little summary of your team at the top with the number of hours you've logged and the opportunities you're working, as well as your team members. And again, you can toggle back and forth between teams if you have multiple teams. So you may be on a corporate team. At the same time, you may also work with friends on the weekends and do some volunteer work with them. So you can toggle between teams and see, okay, here are the opportunities we're working and the next step with that volunteer opportunity. So in some cases, the volunteer agency is going to be approving or having to approve my application. In other cases, I've been given the ability to log my own hours on some opportunities. So I can actually come in here and log hours for certain assignments, looking at shifts and positions, and actually do some volunteer logging myself. That is, if you want to give the team that capability to actually say, hey, we work these hours, here they are. You also have scheduling. So the nonprofit is scheduling that individual for the volunteer opportunity, or again, you can give the ability to the volunteer team to select the venue and select the shift that they want to work, and then the position that they want to work as well. So again, you would change this and make whatever shifts you want if you were the volunteer team signing up for that volunteer opportunity. So this is a recurring event, as you can see here. It starts from 11/23 and ends on 5/17 next year. So again, giving the team the power to do certain functions, or if you want more oversight on that team, you can limit what they can do. You also have managing your members. So I can come in here and actually add members directly from the back end. So if I have her name and email, as well as a mobile number, which is required because we have a check-in and check-out process, which we're going to look at, called Time It, where you can check people in, or people can check themselves in using a mobile phone number. So I would need to put in a number for Sandra here. And then select and create a user. We'll actually send that person an email from the system that creates their username and their password, and I just add that person to my team. Okay, you can also reset passwords from the team dashboard. You can change out the co-captain if someone decides to leave the team or they don't want to volunteer with you anymore. That's fine. You also have recommended opportunities based on your search preferences and your search criteria. So you have certain opportunities that are showing up based on the search preferences that are available in the system. So if I come into search preferences, you'll see you can fill out, when you're available to volunteer, what sort of causes you want to volunteer with, which opportunities the volunteer opportunity is appropriate for. Maybe there's certain programs that you have in your system that you want to associate to a certain program because your CPAs and the volunteer center has a tax assistance program, for instance. So saving these preferences will yield different results on your dashboard, on your team dashboard. So Dan is not only the captain of the Atlantans, but he's also He also has his own volunteer dashboard as well. So he has his team listed here where he can manage his members, but he also has his own dashboard in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, which is where the menu is. You also have the ability to add new teams directly from the lower right. So
for sure.
You can have corporate teams in here where you fill out your company information and then associate to certain volunteer centers. In this case, I just have some examples of different volunteer centers in the area where I can associate myself to those nonprofits. So these are nonprofit organizations that I've set up in the system that I can associate to. You can also add your causes that you're interested in and really just fill out what your preferences are as a team. Looking at dashboard, this will take me into my volunteering dashboard. So this is different from a team dashboard. This will show me kind of a block of information of where I've worked, how long I've worked those opportunities, if I have any opportunities that are pending approval. As I click on these squares, that will take me into that specific section or that specific opportunity. My opportunities are obviously opportunities related to myself as an individual, and then I can send off emails to the volunteer coordinator if I desire. So I have a full back end here that shows me information as well as a calendar that looks specifically at my teams and specifically at my volunteer opportunities that I'm associated with. So that's a little bit of the back end from the user perspective. There's a whole lot more to this tool from a volunteer center perspective and how a volunteer center will use this. So we're gonna show that next. We also, as you see here, have a calendar that you can look at based off of opportunity, also based on the week or the month. So calendaring was something I think some people had issues with on the Hands-on Connect system with recurring opportunities from the day viewpoint not showing up. So that's something we fixed at the volunteer center level. Obviously, as a volunteer, you're not necessarily going to need to look at your day schedule. So we've just formatted week and month at this point for the volunteer. You also have communication preferences and other information related to who you are as an individual. One important notification requirement or preference is how do you want to receive notifications as a volunteer? So let's say you have a volunteer opportunity, or let's say this person signed up for a volunteer opportunity that recurred twice a week. What this notification preference will allow you to do is say, hey, I want to receive all notifications related to that opportunity, or I just want to receive a single notification informing me that, hey, for the event, I've got that coming up, or you've got something coming up on your calendar. So this relates to the whole notification system in the software that would be coming from the agency or the volunteer center. So this will only send a single notification 2 times a week, for instance, as opposed to receiving all the notifications for that volunteer opportunity. So you can toggle that on or off as a volunteer depending on what you prefer. And then again, just filling out your profile, including phone and email information as well as causes that you're interested in. Let's go ahead and log out now as the volunteer. And I'm just going to flip screens here to a different browser, and I'm going to log in as a volunteer center. So in this example, I'm an organization called Do Good Capital. That's the name of my organization, is Do Good Capital. And as an organization, I'm looking to partner with agencies. We're basically a corporate entity that is going to be partnering with nonprofits in the region, trying to get them to post their volunteer opportunities to our site. So a little bit of a different setup. It's just the example I'm using. As you saw on the public site, my my name, my logo was up there. So do good, or good capital, I think. But now I'm logged in as a volunteer center, and again, I have that common theme of kind of like a pipeline, if you will, of how many organizations, how many volunteers you have in the system, as well as posted opportunities, and then a little bit of a more granular look at that in terms of how many group volunteers you have. So this should be the Atlantans. If I click on that, so it's not rendering correctly, but basically, as I click on any of these pieces of information, for instance, I clicked on the 3 for organizations there. This will pull up the 3 organizations I have in my system. These are the partner agencies that are posting to my public portal. So these are most likely free accounts. Some of them could be premium users, but for the most part, these are probably the free subscribers, the nonprofits in the region who are, again, connecting into my volunteer center. You also have associated programs with each agency. So you may have some sort of program that you offer as a volunteer center, and the Holiday Helpers program may be a band of opportunities related to the holidays. So you can associate a program to a volunteer opportunity so that when someone searches based off of program, it pulls up that band of opportunities and lists out the volunteer opportunities that are categorized by Holiday Helpers. So they've been approved to post to this program. Covenant House has been approved to post to the Holiday Helpers program. Again, Mentor Me has that same program, whereas Whole Foods is not approved, has not applied to be a part of that program. So you have a whole application process if you want to post your opportunity to a volunteer center program within the system. You can export this data anytime you want, as well as take action on a list of people. So you'd be able to actually click through here and communicate with those organizations. So it's a pretty easy method of getting in touch with your agencies. Basically, you would hit apply, and then what will happen is it'll pull open our e-communications module within the system, which I'll show for you in just a second. So if I wanted to send out an email to all of my organizations, for instance, I would name what I want that communication to be. I would put in a sender name, a sender email, as well as a subject, and then I'd pull open the communication templates that we've embedded into the system for you. So one of the things that we've really worked hard to create is a very nice newsletter or email function within the system. So we've basically taken MailChimp's back end and dedicated that to the volunteer portal so that you can go in here and actually create pretty robust newsletter templates and newsletters. So this is standard email communication, or it can be a little bit more, where you can put in your logo, add your own colors, drag and drop features, just like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact, where you can change the style and create really robust communication to your constituents and to your agencies that you're working with. So this is something that I think stands out, and we've also introduced some email analytics into the software so that you can see opens and click-through rates, and if you invite people to opportunities, how many people have responded, things like that. So I'll show that off as well. But just to give you an idea of what that looks like, you can drag and drop all this stuff and create the newsletter how you want it to look. And the question came in, can you send this to volunteers as well as to nonprofit agencies? Yes. You can bifurcate who you're sending communications to. You can segment your volunteers from your agencies, and obviously your messaging is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so you have that whole drag and drop capability from the system, and then the ability to kind of change the layout, change the colors, and move images and make your own logo show at the top there. You can also preview the communication in PDF or doc. So once you once you have your communication template, you preview that template. Okay, here's what it looks like. I just did an example earlier. You select the template you want to send, and then step 2 would be to actually select your recipients. So I'll just quickly go through this.
Yep, unless you have any other questions. You're keeping a copy of
Sender name, if you put me, it realizes that's you in the system. You can see the recipient's type is organization. You can also add attachments to the e-communication and then save and proceed, and now you will select the recipients based on a database query. So you can either choose the organizations you want to send that to initially, or you can go through this whole select recipients option and just say, hey, I'm looking for organizations with, and this is not in the system yet. As you can see, it's a little bit sparse, but they're going to be loading in different operators and criteria. So you could say, I want to look at every organization in zip code X or Y or Z, or every agency who was approved this year, every new agency, and then you could send them that newsletter, that welcome newsletter, or something along those lines. So you have e-communications in the software. You also have a communication history. So if I come in here, you can see kind of what I've sent. Take a look at, and you can see here, this has not been implemented yet, but basically that will be the area where you go to look at metrics, like who's opened up an email, or who's clicked on an email. Let's see. Yeah, so that's not in here yet, so you have to excuse the coding there. But this is really just a place where you can track all your communications, and again, see a summary, copy that communication. So if you have something you like, you can always copy the newsletter over and send out another one, maybe with a few minor adjustments. Let's take a look down the left-hand part of the screen. You have a whole array of opportunities here to kind of configure the tool. So we'll look at Design My Public Site first. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this just because we have about 30 minutes left, but this is really where you go to configure your site. This is how you edit your site, what your site's going to look like. So again, I mentioned the good capital organization. You'll notice this is all on-screen editing. So if you click the back there, that's going to take you back into the database. We have a crowdfunding product that we offer, and we use a lot of the applications with the crowdfunding in our volunteer CMS. So if you want to edit something on your page, you have options that are easily editable and easily changeable. So if I don't like this picture, or if I want to change some wording, I have the ability to change out, have an inline editor, if you will, to change all this stuff out, to change fonts, and make this how I want it to look. You can also source the HTML. You can see the HTML source. Let's go ahead and look at our menu items here. So here you can add new menu items, and you'll see the different types of pages you can create. So you have text pages, which are really just informational pages with links and pictures and anything else you want to describe about your organization and your mission. And then you have built-out sites, basically, that we offer directly in the tool. So programs is obviously going to show you a list of all your programs that have been created in the software. Organization lookup will be a search for all your agencies. Searching opportunities is going to search the opportunity database. So I've created most of these on the page here, and you'll see them here listed in the middle upper part of the screen. So changing out logos, changing out site information, changing the color of the site. It's pretty simple to kind of come in here and move things around. It doesn't take a website designer by any means to create your public portal and create a really nice looking site that's not too busy. Some other products out there have done a really good job with design, but the call to actions are really not very clear. Whereas what this template does is it makes it very clear what you want the person to do. You can search, you can kind of sign up as a team or an organization or a volunteer. and there's a few other options at the top here, but I've noticed that there are, with some of the really modern designs, there's so much stuff going on everywhere, you don't really know what to do. So you can show this information if you want. You can configure that off. And the other thing is we'll be introducing new templates into the software. So that's something we plan on doing in the future, is saying, hey, let's give our clients the option and provide 3 or 4 different templates. So that'll be pretty nice, I think, once we have that rolled out as well. So look for that next year. But having additional templates is certainly something that I think would benefit everyone. I'll just click on some of these sites. I think we looked at the calendar, but every organization will have the ability to add things to their public portal here. So back into the tool, the UI for this software is very clean, I think. There's not, there's not a lot of math. Everything is very strategically laid out in front of you. You have your settings and really kind of where you do your admin work on the upper left-hand side. And then you have some different sections throughout that pertain to different things you want to do and report on and manage.
We're missing the confirmation letter.
One of the first things you need to do in the system is configure a lot of your options. So we've set out the configuration to look like this. Obviously, everyone asks, can we have our own skill sets and our own activity types? The answer is yes. You can do all that. It's as simple as just adding a new skill set or activity type or what have you onto the screen here. So I could add farming. And then farming would be an activity type that someone could search on. We also have age groups required. So maybe you have, we're looking for people 14 to 18 to volunteer, but these are the general age groups that most people will use. Age group serve will be who you're serving. Custom agreements will be things you need to upload, waivers and liability agreements. You can upload new agreements here and then apply those agreements to certain things. So you could have organization registration that requires an agreement, as well as volunteer registration that requires an agreement. So you can either put the agreement right in here, or you can upload a document that the individual can download. All right, let's see. I had a few questions come in. Carol asks, does the web design span the page, or does it appear much like the hands-on Connect look? Specifically, I'm not sure exactly how to answer that, but it's very templated. Yes, there's certain places where things need to go, but any text page you can edit to make that look as you desire. So I don't know if that answers the question or not, but happy to talk offline. And then, is there a range on skill level, or just the fact that you have a skill? That's a good question. You can certainly make whatever skill sets you want. So if I come into skill sets, I can show you what that looks like. But you could have an advanced level, but there's no hot, medium, cold, or level 1, level 2, level 3. You just have to create that yourself in the system. Another question that came in, as far as skill level, is there an option that would allow you to turn off that filter? You can delete as many skills as you want in the system. So you would have the ability to delete skills if you wanted the process to be as easy as possible for volunteers to sign up, or if you didn't want people to actually fill out skills. I believe that's something we could accommodate. Another question came in, can you show us the page as a volunteer and how they would see it when they come onto the page? So, this is an example of what a page might look like. Again, just to just a sample, but I'm zoomed out to 75, so this is me at 100. And I accidentally clicked something, so sorry about that, but let's go ahead and continue on. So you have custom data sets in the system. So on the back end of the tool, you have data sets that you can add. So I think I've shown this to everyone, and I think everyone gets this idea of creating whatever fields you want to track on people that you want. So demographic data, and you can apply this to volunteers or to organizations or to opportunities. So you can also select programs that this is related to. So when people apply for volunteer opportunities related to a certain program, or if you're just trying to track data on volunteers, for instance, you'll be able to track that on the back end of the system. So you can fill it in yourself, or you can ask the question, hey, what's your income level? And you can have drop-downs, yes or no, fields or different style fields that either you're using as staff use only, so you're recording information against people, or you're requiring it as people fill out applications to opportunities. So custom data sets are something obviously that I think everyone wants to use and will use. Causes is again, just a list of segments that you focus on. What happens when someone actually signs up? What does the sign up look like? So what do you require when a volunteer signs up? We make address required. We make phone required. So you have different options to turn on or off. And then you have a sign up message that the person will see once they've gone through the process on screen. What does it say, right? We also have email notifications built into the software. Just wait for this to load. So here are a few of the different email notifications. Anytime an opportunity has been approved, so if you're the agency and you've sent in an opportunity and it gets approved, this is the email you're going to get. So you can decide where it's coming from, what the subject is, what the body of the email is going to look like. You have the ability in here to really make that message whatever you want it to be. So we've got a list of email notifications that will go out to volunteers when they sign up, or anytime an opportunity has been approved, or an organization has been approved, or someone has signed up for the system, or if an opportunity has been rejected by an organization that requires certain things that the nonprofit doesn't actually provide. So you have all these different configurations. You go through these initially when you sign up for the system. The last thing I'll show you in this configuration section is reminder notifications. So you can decide when you want to remind volunteers. You want to remind them a week before the volunteer date. How many different times do you want to remind them? And if it's a week before, who do you want to remind? The volunteer as well as the opportunity owner, or just the volunteer? What that looks like is going to look like this. So you would come in here and basically fill out, again, where it's coming from, who the sender is, what the subject is, and then, Dear Dan, this is a reminder that you're registered to participate in walking dogs on 11/24 at 7 p.m. to 11/24 at 9 p.m. It's located here. Here's the information on the opportunity. So you have that full email notification, and you make the decision in terms of how often you want to send that, and then you can send it on volunteering day as well. Who are the organizations that we work with? This is just a list of the orgs that you guys are working with. Those who have been approved will be listed here. Another question came in, can you email all volunteers at the same time? yes, that's kind of going back to the e-communication module. I mean, you could select all active volunteers and send out whatever communication you desire. Approval pending would relate to organizations that have not yet been approved by your volunteer center. I don't have any of those at this point. So it's just a listing of what programs organizations are associated with, and then also who's been approved. I mentioned that widget strategy was something we really deployed in this version. This is pretty cool. This allows you to create widget searches or opportunity search widgets for your corporate partners or for agencies that you work with, or for anyone really, for that matter. You can come in here and add a new widget, basically name it whatever you want. So let's say you have 100 partners that are agencies or 10 corporate partners that you work with. So let's go ahead and just name this J&J or FedEx. And what we're doing here is actually building out a search capability for FedEx. So they're a partner of ours. They have certain tenets and pillars of volunteerism or corporate social responsibility. They kind of help you decide what nonprofits they want to work with, right? Or what programs they want to participate in. So this would be the list of all your programs. Maybe they want to see all opportunities related to the Holiday Helpers program. What you can do is fill all this out to your desire and then save this build criteria. So we're telling the system what these agencies want to see on a widget. And you can see I have one opportunity associated to the Holiday Helpers program. So what this will do is update with whatever criterion you put in here for the organization or for the partner. So basically, they'll have the ability, once you generate this script, to put this on any website, to copy and paste into a content manager, and you have the ability to put a widget so that people can search for opportunities, and this will update with more opportunities as more nonprofits participate in Holiday Helpers and include more opportunities, and then those people will be able to apply for the opportunity right from here. So you can change the color of this. Change the width and the height. And then also, one thing we're working on is obviously making this the Volunteer Center logo and name. So you could upload your image, and they'd be able to post that anywhere. And again, it would update with the opportunities related to that criteria that you built out. So I think it's a pretty awesome addition. So if I add, let's just check all of these. And you'll notice that that's changed. It's updated with more opportunities since I selected all these causes. The donation widget, we've made this agnostic. So if you have another platform, you have the ability to come in here and add a donation widget to your homepage, to your portal. So you basically fill in the script section here, title your donation widget whatever you want it to be called. I've done that. I did that on my other page that I pulled out, my public portal. So what I did is I used a widget from my CRM. I created a widget from my CRM, but most software will provide you the ability to create a widget if you're using some sort of online fundraising tool, and then you can just type that code in for the widget within this script section here, and that will update your CMS with that donation form or whatever widget it is they offer. We also launched Time It, a new version of Time It, which is our volunteer punch-in. So if you're an individual attending a volunteer opportunity, you'll have the ability to come in and punch in as an individual or punch in as a team member and select your team member. So say I'm part of the Atlantans. Let's see. There we go. There's the Atlantans. If I say I'm part of that team, then I type in my phone number or my PIN number. What this is going to do is actually punch me into the volunteer opportunity. Now, if I type in my phone number, it's going to have me confirm my identity. I'm part of the Atlantans, and of course I'm not registered for that opportunity. Let me do one thing and just go back and just do individual. Okay, so I'm Dan Wayne. I'd say yes. And now here's the opportunities I've signed up for and I'm scheduled for. So I could come in here and actually select this dog care opportunity, review the information in front of me. The check-in time is 2:52. Punch in, and then what will happen is, as you see here, you can hit exit and re-enter your PIN, and you can switch opportunities if you punch into the wrong thing. And then the Volunteer Center actually has the ability to set up settings on opportunities. So let's open up what an opportunity looks like and go through that creation so you can see how that's configured, how the punch-in is configured. On your opportunities, you have active volunteer opportunities and inactive opportunities. You'll notice the number of volunteers I have scheduled at each opportunity. We've introduced basic and advanced opportunity management. So if you're doing a basic opportunity, this is what your free agencies will do. They'll have basic opportunity only, and they'll have 3 steps to create their opportunity and publish it to your site. So we've made it really simple for organizations and agencies to post. Now we are logged in at the Volunteer Centers. You can see that we have on behalf of listed here, and this is for when you are managing opportunities for your nonprofits. So if you're managing nonprofit opportunities and you have kind of a managed service model, you would post on behalf of Covenant House and create the volunteer opportunities for that organization. In this case, we'll just do one at the Volunteer Center.
Anything 2009. So, but did you look to see if we can destroy those?
Again, you can associate it to a program, so your list of programs would show up here. You can add positions to the opportunity, include an hourly value. So you can have multiple positions for opportunities. I'll make this an ongoing opportunity. Say it's going until November 24th, 16, and then you can have multiple shifts. So in this case, it's a basic opportunity, so we're just going to have one type of shift. If it was an advanced opportunity, we could have multiple shifts. So this is the morning shift for the sample opportunity. It's going to start at 8 a.m. So you have different time measurements there. And it's going to end at 10 a.m. So it's a 2-hour opportunity. You can also have flex time. Doesn't really matter what time the person came in. But again, this is really just the basics. So we don't want to make it too difficult for people to have to schedule if they're really, really basic opportunities or one-time opportunities. So you need to change. You need to include what kind of activity the opportunity is. We'll say disaster services. And then you have your options here. Can the volunteers schedule themselves for their shift and at the location you want them to, yes or no? Do you want to display this on the calendar? Do you want them to be able to log hours for the opportunity? Is an approval required for the application? So before they can actually apply and be confirmed for that opportunity, do you review that as the organization? And then is an orientation or training required? So I'm just going to turn some of this stuff off and give them really give the volunteer a lot of options here. So you can fill out all this stuff, who it benefits and who it's appropriate for, whether or not groups and teams are allowed to apply to this opportunity. And then this is an important one. A lot of times, teams will apply to an opportunity, but it's a group of 80, but you don't know who 50 of those team members are. So in that case, if I need the information from those team members, I turn this on. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn that on. I need to know who those 10 people are, those 80 people are who are actually coming in to apply for the opportunity. So Chris, I hope this will help answer your question as we apply for this once I turn this on. And then what forms do you need to fill out for the opportunity? This auto checkout type, this is another important setting. If you're using the time it feature, how do you want to check people out? Do you want to check them out at the end of the shift? So if the shift is 2 hours and they check in an hour before their scheduled time, it's going to check them out automatically at the end of the shift. So if my shift is 8 to 10, I show up at 7, it's going to log me out at 10 o'clock. Do I want them, or do I want the system to log me out at the end of my scheduled time or after a set amount of time? So you have different, after 4 hours, it's automatically going to log me out. After 6 hours, it's automatically going to punch me out. So you have different settings that you can add, as well as auto logging hours when you mark someone as attended. So it's going to say just auto log their hours. If you say that the person attended that, it's going to give them the number of hours that the shift was. Okay, and then we publish it to a volunteer center. So if you're the agency, you would publish to the volunteer center. Again, right now we are the volunteer center or the premium agency. We would just publish this to our public site. And then Chris, you had asked about the team. The team sign up. So let's go ahead and let's find that opportunity. We'll go into the search from the public portal and pull open sample 1, which is what we just did. This is what the search function looks like when you come to the site. You have an advanced search. When are you available? What would you like to do? Who would you like to serve? And then you have all of your opportunities. So here's our sample 1. Let's go ahead and view that opportunity. Okay, we're going to apply to the opportunity. Not sure why this is taking so long to log in today. So there's just a few things that we're working on before December 1, but hopefully they are all cleaned up over the next week. Okay, so we're going to apply as a team, and we'll select the YoPros, and we'll say the team size is 80. And you'll remember, we said that it was required to fill out the team member information. So here is where you'd actually go in now. So this is an option that turned on from the back end of the system because we said in requirements, hey, we need to know who those people are, right? If we didn't need to know that, we don't really care about that. We could turn that off. But because this setting is on, that's why you see this here, and you have your 80 that are coming in. Okay, so a few other things before we get off the call. I know it's we're about 1 minute to the hour. Reports has not yet been fully baked into the software, so I'll be creating videos on really every piece of the system once December 1st rolls around, and everyone can kind of see what those look like. But let's look at our opportunities and just look at the actual volunteer management side of this. So let's look at dog care and actually go into the opportunity. And this is a fully responsive system, so it should look good on an iPad. I looked at it on my iPhone earlier, and it looked to be rendering correctly. But we've made it easy for you to actually manage the opportunity and the volunteers. So I have 2 volunteers here. I have a team of 10, and I have Dan Wayne and the number of hours that they've volunteered, as well as unverified hours. So I can go in and actually look at who those individuals are, who those team members are. I can edit team members if I'd like. And then attendance is really important. This is checking in folks. So I can check in Dan and I can check in the Atlantans. Also marking them as no-shows. What this does is it clocks their hours for me. It helps me log their hours. And it'll update their records successfully, as you can see. You can also send invites to certain opportunities. So I mentioned the metrics earlier. Here are some, I guess they've put this in here in the actual opportunity, but you can send out or create an invite to an opportunity. So let's say you have a corporate partner that you want to send private invites to. You can literally create the invite directly from in here once you've created the opportunity, dog care, or whatever the name of the opportunity is. And then you have opportunity notification settings. So again, you have two different levels here. You have opportunity notifications and you have system-wide notifications. So when you set the opportunity notification, you can set this differently from system-wide notifications. So if certain opportunities you want to hammer people with tons of messaging, you can do that. So we put a lot of thought into the communication section of the system. Navigation is really quite easy. You have breadcrumbs in the system. You have who you've actually viewed recently. You have a quick add, so you can add an opportunity very quickly, or add volunteers or hours quickly, or agencies very quickly. And then we have obviously a very nice database search. We can come in and do an advanced search of the database and find what you're looking for. So again, whatever fields you want, what the interest areas are of those volunteers, how many hours they've volunteered. So if you want to look in a certain state, as well as the state of Georgia, for people that have volunteered greater than 5 hours, that are female, over 65. So there's all kinds of criteria. You just click the plus button and you keep adding to your criteria. You hit search and you pull up that list of people, and then you can do things that are streamlined, like communicate with them using the communication module that we put in here. So reports is the one thing I didn't get to show today. There's also a lot more to this, like quick assigning volunteers and schedule changes if you have a mass schedule change for an event or for a volunteer opportunity. You can select the opportunity and basically configure how you want the schedules to look from where they are today. So there's a few other features we didn't get to, but I think that's a good overview so far. As a volunteer center, obviously you have your opportunities where people are coming in to volunteer with you, and you have your partner opportunities. So I know one question that always comes up is, what does a free agency get when they have the tool? What does it look like to have the free version of this software? Really, it's in this PDF, and I can show that to anyone who wants to see it in a separate call. Happy to showcase what the free version looks like. But really, if you look at the subscriptions here, this will show you a pretty good portion of what you see is really enabled in both the free as well as the premium account. There are some things that are more advanced, like customizing positions and mass changing schedules. But for the basis of managing volunteers and scheduling hours, logging hours, it's really all there at the free level as well. So happy to show that to anyone who wants to see it, but for today's purposes, I hope that answered a lot of your questions and gave you a good look into what's coming in the next week. Does anyone have any questions on the phone or by chat? I'll wait here for another minute or so if anyone wants to talk for a minute about anything I showed.
Dan, this is Chris O'Connor at Points of Light. I just wanted to, before we
One
lose
thing also to mention is we have application roles in the system. So I know I'm I know I'm over time here, but you can add roles into Fundly Connect, where if you have, let's say, volunteers who are looking to take a bigger part in volunteer management, you have an entire role that you could create for volunteers. And you could say, hey, you're able to do this, but you're not allowed to do this. You're able to do this, you're able to do this, but you can't do that. So you have basically every function in the system set up here on the back end so that you can't change what our public site looks like volunteer, but you can log hours for volunteers. Thanks very much, guys. Look forward to speaking with you shortly. Everyone have a good Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.